Hello there, my name is Paul and I've just put this bit of video up here on YouTube just to talk a little bit about car auctions. If you're looking to buy your next car, perhaps a bit cheaper than you would do, perhaps from a main dealer in your town where you live, then I've been a car dealer since 1988, and during that time I've acquired quite a bit of experience about car auctions and how these places work. If you would like more information about it, you can go to my website, which is www.insidecarauctions.co.uk, and there's a few sort of tips and resources that you can get there which should explain it in a little bit more detail. But as I say, I just want to talk a little bit about car auctions because sometimes they're given quite a sort of negative press. You often hear bad stories about cars are just being sold at auction simply because they're there because there's something wrong with them, or they're put in by dubious sort of people just to get rid of them. And a lot of the time a lot of the cars at auction are there just simply because they're no good. And what happened to me is that before I got started in car dealing, I probably like everybody else used to buy my cars from a dealer, and it always sort of intrigued me how I could pay the full retail price, but when it comes to selling it, I'd lose a huge amount of money on when I sold the car. And so I just started asking a few people and around, and friends and family and stuff like that, where dealers got their cars from. And I was told from car auctions. But I was also, the advice that I was given along with that is, oh, don't go to these places, and just due to the reasons that I've just told you. And so I decided to go along for one and have a look at one myself. And I'll tell you what, I was really glad I did, because there's a lot of good cars at auctions. For example, a lot of companies put their cars in auction, when they reach a certain age or mileage, and they're just there, sold as seen. But you can end up buying a good car for a fraction of the retail price. So what I just wanted to talk about in this video is the difference really between buying a car at auction, or whether you might buy one, say, privately out of your local paper, or you might buy one from a local car dealer. And the mindset really is totally different, because if you look at one of your local paper, and most of our car buying experience sort of goes down this road of you ring the person up and you go around there and you can meet the seller and you can take your time and you can have a look around the car, see if it's all right. You can question the buyer, or if you go to a car dealer on their forecourt, they often offer you a guarantee with the car, 12 months warranty or something like that. And basically you can take your time, you can, you've done your own work on the car, you know what you want, and you can have a look around it, you can ask all sorts of questions, you can check over the service history, you can, start the car up, hear if the engine sounds all right. If you want to go a bit further, you can test drive the car as well. And then if you're not sure, or if you've got other cars to look at, you can say to the person, well, see what, look, I've got a few more to look at, or I'll come back tomorrow, or whatever. And so therefore it's a very relaxed way of buying a car. When you're buying one from car auctions, it's a totally different scenario entirely, because you go there, and although you can, if you get there early enough to a car auction, you can look around the car and see which one you like, and when you've picked it out, but you still obviously then can't test drive the car or anything like that. The only time you can hear it probably running is when one of the drivers who work for the car auction come up and they start the car up, and then you can hear it running. But basically it's a totally different buying experience. And also when it actually comes up for the time to be sold, the auctioneer, if you put a bid in on the car and then you're not sure about whether you want to go a little bit more, more often than not you lose the car to somebody else who's interested in it as well. And so it creates a lot of pressure when you're buying a car at auction, rather than to the scenario of taking your time, and making a more sort of informed choice. So when you go to a car auction, just bear this in mind, and I would recommend that you get there a little bit earlier and just make sure that you take down all the good points and the bad points about the car, look over it good, and just have a listen to the engine before it goes in as well. But just wanted to put on this video that's the difference between buying a car privately. As I say, you can check in the local paper, especially if you buy one privately out of the local paper, because then you can meet the seller, especially if they're the actual owner of the car, rather than going to a dealer's forecourt and they probably bought the car from auction. So if you go to a private seller, it's more advisable to do that. But if you do want to save money on the retail price or the price that people are selling their cars for at an auction, you can save a lot of money. But also be aware that it is a different buying process, and that you are under a lot more pressure to buy the car when you do. And also as well, that if you buy the car from auction, then 9 times out of 10 they're all sold as seen. So if there's anything wrong with the car, then you've got no comeback with that. But if you want to know more about car auctions, as I say, I do have a website that gives you a bit more insight into it, and it's at www.insidecarauctions.co.uk. And go there. If you've got any questions or anything, there's an email link there that you can just pop a question off to me. As I say, I do have quite a bit of experience in the car trade of buying and selling. So if you're looking to buy your car and but may not have the money that you see the prices the cars are making on the dealer's forecourts or in your local paper, a car auction is definitely a great place to buy. But if you just follow just a few simple guidelines, a few little tips and that you need to know before you attend one, then I'm sure it's you'll come out with a very good car indeed. Okay, thanks for listening to my video and have a great day. Bye bye.